Hey y'all, it's more doll talk with ScorcherToys@anymoon.com. This time we're looking at the Toynami Popbox Hikaru in-flight suit released in May 2008, and as a bonus, I'm going to throw in the limited edition light-up version sold in July 2008. Both toys retailed for $99.95 US, but have long since sold out. The light-up version was limited to conventions with only 300 being produced. To find the best current releases of all your favorite toy lines, head to Big Bad Toy Store through my campaign link in the comments below and show your support for this channel in the process. The regular release version of Hikaru in his flight suit was Popbox's third release in the line. They ditched the blue matte boxes for a glossy black one on the regular release. That's a little bit wider, because unlike the jumpsuit version of these toys, this flight suit version has an accessory. It's still a premium box with a nice flip-top lid showing off the goods within. Pulling the tray out of the box, you'll find 3 optional hands, a right hand salute, and a pair of open grips. You'll also find a helmet and a head for use with that helmet, and there are instructions taped to the top. The limited edition toy is a different beast, coming in a plain but solid cardboard box. The packaging is shorter and narrower than the regular release, with this toy twist-tied down inside. The same accessory hands are included in a baggie, including an extra pair of fists for no damn reason. The helmet is required on this toy, so you don't get the head that is meant for use without the helmet. Inside the box, you'll find instructions on how to replace the batteries. The toy comes with 3 LR44 batteries already installed in the backpack. This toy comes with this helmet that we will look a little more closely at in a moment. Also comes with fists already installed, but you have this optional open fist if you want to hold that helmet. Now, there is a durability issue here in that there's a pinned wrist, and in order to pull this off the toy, you're going to be like struggling, you're going to be twisting, and if all you can do is hold the hand, it seems like eventually that might break the wrist. Now, what was better on the blue version of the toy is you could just pull the sleeve up and put your fingers right around the base and then pop the hand off that way. Unfortunately, not an option because of these gauntlets that come down on the flight suit version of the toy. We also have really thin pleather up here. So it seems like the more you struggle with the elbow, the more likely you are to eventually wear or tear that leather. Now, this fist is not all the way in already, so it's going to pop out pretty easily for me. And that's a problem. Sinking these hands into those holes is really difficult. Again, you can't just pull up the sleeve. So the diameter of the hole is about the same as the diameter of the fist, so it barely fits in, and then once you get it in, kind of getting it right in the perfect hole is pretty difficult. Now, I've done this a few times, so hopefully it'll work, but it's definitely not the same beast as it was with the blue version of the toy. Now, hopefully spinning it around there will get it to set. And now we can go ahead and have it hold the helmet. But overall, switching out the hands, a much more frustrating experience on the flight suit version. Obviously doable. Now, when I was doing this, it did reveal a build quality issue too. If I bend the toy at the elbows, the arms at the elbows, you can see my gauntlets aren't rotated exactly the same way. Not a big deal, but just a little awkward build quality issue, and I don't see it on my limited edition version. Just my regular release. This is what the helmet looks like. You can grab the helmet by the fingers, but I haven't been able to figure out a good way to pinch the helmet under the armpit, partly because of this rubber gauntlet, but also because of the articulation of the figure. So a little bit of a letdown there. To put on the helmet, we're going to go ahead and just pull up on Hikaru's head. You can see there's a little key slot there, little peg in the neck. We're going to take the helmet, we're going to separate it into 2 parts by just applying a little pressure on either side and pulling forward. And then we're going to fish the helmet on top of the collar. So sink it in there, but don't push it down too far. Take your helmetless head, which is the helmet hair version of Hikaru's head, which I thought was a nice touch. Instead of swapping his hair, they gave us a helmet hair version. You're going to get that key lined up. You're going to press down on the head to get it all the way in. And then you're going to take the top of the helmet, and it does have an integrated visor. The visor, though, is only connected via 2 little pegs on either side. And as you can see, it is very easily disjarred. So let's bring the helmet up a little bit. If the visor isn't moving freely, you probably have the helmet too far down. You're going to line up the pegs and push everything into position. which is a little easier said than done. Let's pull this up, push that down, line it all up, and you should see I've got a little peg on this side that's not going into position. There it goes. So there you are, there's the helmet on the toy, and we can lift that visor up also. Let's get that going. There we go. To complete the look, we're going to turn the toy around and we're going to hook up the little hoses. You can see they've got a little slot on one end, a peg on the other, and you just attach them onto the peg on the backpack. Let's get that on, and then we could spin it forward. Same thing on the other side. And we can settle the helmet down low, backpack up high, and you can get them, you know, approximately lined up with how they should be, and it looks fine. I can take there we go. So there's the tubes, roughly how they should be in place, and you could fine tune that, obviously. The good thing about the way it is, so it looks like they're connected more or less, but what they've allowed is for the head to still turn. Now the tubes are not really connected, so they're not bothering anything. So you can turn the head, you can look around. It's to get everything to turn, it's better to put a finger on his face and then line the helmet up afterwards. And you can see I've actually discharged that visor, and that was one of my complaints before. Now the light up version of the toy has this button in the back, which is pretty cool. This is your light, which you're not gonna be able to see right now, but does have those tubes where the wires are now traveling into the helmet. So you can't remove the helmet, and there's also a wire that's coming through here to the front, and you can't really articulate the head much. So you can do it just a tiny bit, but that's all you're gonna be able to do with the light up version because those hoses are actually attached. I've made the setting a little more romantic so we can explore that light up option. Works better if you got the visor down because it reflects the light. Just press the button in the back, and there you go. You got a red light on the chest, blue light inside the helmet. It leaks a little, but you'd be able to fix that with a little padding or tape pretty easily. Now, one thing that is a big letdown is that it only lights up while my finger is on the button. As soon as I take my finger off, the lights turn off. It's not a button that clicks down for you. So what you can do is just go ahead and open up the battery compartment, and then you can take a coin and put it in the button, and then you line things back up, and perhaps a little easier said than done. Put that back on, and there you go. Permanently lit up. Now obviously, at some point I'd have to take that coin out when I'm ready to turn off the light, but that's a little cheat and workaround that you can use. From an articulation standpoint, the real struggle with these toys is getting them to stand on their own. Other than that, they're pretty decently articulated. The pleather suit underneath is pretty thin. You can see I've actually got some wear showing up on the elbow. I've got some wear where the helmet's been attaching, and you don't want to try to press things too far and rip the suit. So here we go. We can come out at the shoulder, we can come forward at the shoulder, same ratcheted shoulder mechanism through here. It's decent mobility, the elbow. You can actually come up more than 90 degrees depending on kind of how you've got the gauntlet on here situated, but you don't want to twist because you don't want to rip anything. So I would play that cautiously. And again, there's that damage there. Head at the base is very articulated, nothing where the head meets the neck though, but shouldn't really inhibit you from enjoying that. There is a waist. Now mine is a little, it's hanging up mechanically, so there's a build quality issue here. On my light up version of the toy, I still get that pivot inside. I'm not getting it on my regular release version, so I think something's just kind of bound up inside there. Legs are fine. This is where the pleather seat is going, or pleather suit is going to limit you again. You don't want to come out too far and rip the seams there, but good mobility. You got a knee, you're going to get about 90 degrees of articulation, maybe a little bit more. You've got those feet, which are still a little too loose, so they allow the toy to topple forward, but at least on these ones, they rub a little against the boot. So it might stand a little bit better than the blue jumpsuit version, but still it can be a challenge. One of the most heavily scrutinized aspects of any doll will be its face sculpt. Here you can see Kids Logic went with a more realistic looking face, particularly around the nose and lips. You can see the first Popbox effort in the blue jumpsuit. I feel like that one looks like it's lifted straight from the anime. I think they did a great job there. The flight suit version here has a more dopey look to it with that little bit of a smirk. But I can also see this one being a very close likeness to several of the shots in Do You Remember Love as well. So overall, I know a lot of people, it's going to rub them the wrong way, but I think Popbox did a pretty good job. I don't own many 1/6 scale figures. I'm much more of a mechanical transformation fan. But I think the regular release Hikaru in his flight suit is probably my favorite of all my large character figures. My biggest issue with these dolls is that they're huge. If you have the space, you'll like collecting character figures and not just mecha, and don't mind the somewhat limited nature, this can be a great piece. A cheap, unobtrusive doll stand would be a smart purchase to go along with it. The light-up version is cute, but I don't imagine many people are going to feel the urge to own both the regular release and a limited version, and the option to remove the helmet and hold the helmet makes the regular release an easy winner in my book. Subscribe and check out the full article on anymoon.com, and as always, thanks for watching.